What's going on, guys? Marcus here, back in the shop, and today we're talking about Jeezy's new album, Church in the Streets.
Something new. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no.
Now, I've been bumping this all morning. It's definitely appropriate for the time, like for me, midterms, and I need a little motivation, and who not to call and bang with than no other than Pastor Jeezy. This dude is the king of motivation and inspiration when it comes to hip hop, at least to me nowadays. You know, it's cool to have, all your little party, your party club joints and your street joints or whatever, which Jeezy does blend in together in his music. But the difference is with this guy, he's always been more of a motivational speaker compared to anybody else. He's even said that way back in the day with Thug Motivation 101. Just the title, Motivation 101. I mean, it's not necessarily meant for all thugs or whatever, because I'm not out here trapping these streets and everything. I'm a college student, like most of you guys are or whatever. Take the lyricism and the content of the music and run with it with your own perspective. You know, he is trying to motivate us and inspire us to pretty much go out there and be a better person. Obviously, he's not just saying go out there and sell, all the dope that's out your trunk or whatever and be the best dope boy in your neighborhood. I mean, you could take it as that way, but I don't really see it like that. And I'm pretty sure most people don't live that lifestyle. Take that music as inspiration and use it for different concepts, whether it's the gym, working out, school, just working and grinding a regular 9 to 5, or your little creative hustle like YouTube and whatever it can be. This album, I feel like, is slightly different from what we've heard in the past. He's still that thug dude, he's still that street guy. I really want to say it's not super street where the point where it's just repetitive chants and just that heavy bass production. With that being said, I don't think there's going to be a single on this album that's going to be radio friendly, because there's really nothing that's too clubby and too catchy or whatever, other than the song Gold Bottles, which again isn't something that I consider a party track. It's a banging track, but compared to his past joints, in recent years, in the last 10 years or whatever, I don't think it's gonna hit the masses, and be the charts or whatever. Now, one unique thing about this album is that there's really no features on here other than like Janelle Monáe and some other singer. No Atlanta rappers, nobody is on here. Not T.I., not Ludacris, none of the new guys, nobody. Which is something that's kind of, different, because I feel like a lot of MCs out there, whether new or old, kind of use the hottest rappers like Drake and Future as a crutch, or even Young Thug as a crutch to promote their music. I mean, Jeezy's been out here grinding since like 2003, like back with the Boys in the Hood days with Jody Breeze and whoever else was on that group that pretty much ain't doing shit now, and he's built an empire for himself. He doesn't really need anybody to co-sign him. Would have been cool to have somebody like Future or Migos on the track with them to hit us with that street shit or whatever that got the clubs and in the streets bouncing, but it's not necessary. Honestly, this album, I really look at it as just it's motivation. Honestly, like I heard it in the gym, and it's not heavy production, and it's not gonna be like them joints that just make you just going like that or whatever. Just that club shit like Super Freak and all those other joints that were on Thug Motivation 103. The beats are more mellow than what I'm used to when it comes to Jeezy's music, but the concept and the lyricism is pretty much the same. The flows, very similar. It's still that Jeezy that we know. It's still that Pastor Young that we know, spitting that real stuff, the inspirational stuff. But this one is, it's just something that's just, I guess he's coming out with a different approach. Like the name of the album, Church in These Streets, I really feel like it just suits the concept so well. The first couple songs when I was listening to it, I was like, I wonder why he named it that. I mean, this just seems like regular Jeezy to me. But when you go deeper into the album and start listening to the content, you start listening to his stories, he brings up things that happened to his partners back in the day, like Goldmouth and Mailman. Well, I've never known who they were, but I remember hearing them way back in the day, like the Boys in the Hood days and Thug Motivation 101. I remember him mentioning who they are, and he actually mentions them, and I guess they're hard times and trials. Like I want to say, I think it was Mailman or Goldmouth actually did a bid and they held it down for Jeezy. And another thing he talked about too was that trouble that he got into, I want to say it was last year when he got caught with an AK-47, or somebody on his tour got caught with an AK-47 while he was at a show or something. You know, he brings up stuff like that. He even mentions, like, you know, family issues between him and his little sister. Jeezy is known to have push out some personal information or whatever that's going on in his life and his music, like in the one album Inspiration, he talks about the trials between him and his mother. I want to say that this album right here is very similar to Inspiration, which is his second album. On that album, he doesn't really focus on too many radio hits. I mean, he had a couple like Love It and the joint with R. Kelly, Go Getter, but it wasn't that super street shit that he's known to have, like in the first one. And even Recession, which I think is a classic on its own, just because it was a very important time for that album to come out with the content with President Obama that was, you know, running for office or whatever. And so that's actually my favorite album out his collection. But Church on These Streets, I'm definitely not disappointed in it. I can't really say there's any street bangers, any singles that's just gonna flood the clubs or whatever with. I mean, my personal favorites is God. G-O-D, you know, God in this, you know, in the streets or whatever. I forgot how the words went. I mean, I was listening to it earlier. But that and Gold Bottles, those are definitely my favorites out the album. You know, I really have nothing bad to say about it. He's very consistent with his work. Even that mixtape that he dropped not too long ago, Gangsta Party. Recently, he has been flooding the market with music or whatever. I want to say his last big album was Thug Motivation 103. And I think he even dropped another album after that. The name escapes me right now. But that one didn't make a huge impact either. It was a good album, but it didn't flood the streets with just crazy bangers. I don't know if this album will too. I mean, it was just released this morning, but already I love the album. Gold Bottles and God is my favorite out the whole album. But yeah, man, like I have nothing bad to say about it. So I would definitely give this a good 9 out of 10. You guys know me, I'm super big on lyricism, and as we all know, Jeezy isn't a super lyrical cat. Like other albums that was released today, like Redman and Logic's albums, which I'll probably review a little later. His concept and just his flow is just something that always captured me. I wouldn't want to hear, you know, Jeezy go in a cypher and spit some shit like at a BET cypher or just some Freestyle Fridays type of shit, or I don't even know why I brought that up. That's some old school shit or whatever. The music definitely speaks for itself. Jeezy did not disappoint, especially to me. I've been a fan of him forever now, and he's come out with some songs that I'd question, like, yeah, it's not your best work. Like Inspiration was a dope album, but even for a second album, even though it was his earlier days, I can honestly say it wasn't one of his best projects. This one right here, I do love it. If I want to compare it to Recession, it's not as politically strong as Recession. Obviously, that was when that album came out as an important time or whatever, like I mentioned earlier. It spoke to me personally, honestly, because it's that motivation I need, man. It's midterms, or midterms are over, I'm sorry. So finals is coming up, and I'm trying to finish up this semester with a bang. So it's definitely the motivation I need. I'm glad he came out with this project. I'm definitely happy with it. So yeah, 9 out of 10. If you guys checked it out, let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what your thoughts and feelings are about this album. Till next time.